Hi guys, we're gonna make oatmeal today. This is part of our breakfast unit, and I am going to cook in my basement, and hopefully no one comes down here. This will be really fast. It takes maybe 7 minutes tops. I have my mise en place set up, so things are together. So I have 1 cup of rolled oats. I used old fashioned. If all you had was quick, then use quick. I'm gonna bend down. If all you had is quick, then use quick. But they will cook faster because they're quick. These are the old-fashioned rolled, which just means they're like a little bit bigger. Quick oats are just taking these and they run them through the blender a couple times, basically. I have 1 cup of milk, which I've already put in here. You can use whatever milk you have. So my kids drink a lot of whole milk, so I have whole milk, and they also like almond milk, so I have both of those. And then skim milk could work, 1%, whatever you have will work. If you don't have any milk, then you could use water if you needed to for the whole thing, and that would be fine too. If you have some powdered milk, then you could reconstitute the powdered milk and use that also. So any of those would work. So I have 1 cup of milk in there, and then I have 1 cup of water in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and pour the water into here, and then I'm gonna pour the oats into here. So it's just 1 cup, 1 cup, 1 cup, which is really easy to remember, I think. And then I'm gonna use a little bit of cinnamon. So like up to 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. I don't think that's something that you really need to measure out. If you want to measure it out, you can. But about 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon will work. And then just a little pinch of salt. I'm gonna use kosher salt. Kosher salt is big salt. So it's not like the tiny ground salt, the iodized, table salt. Kosher salt is the big salt. So what I'm gonna do is combine this, and I am cooking on this gas burner, like I said, in my basement. Who would have thought? Gas burners need gas. All right. Okay, so this is going. This is about, I'm gonna do medium. I wanna bring it to a boil first, but since I'm cooking with gas, you know that it goes a little bit faster. So I'm gonna stir it a little bit. I'm cooking on our island bar top plus this tall burner, and the burner's on a pan, so it looks like the pan is nearly as tall as I am. So we're gonna stir this around. Make this for breakfast, lunch, afternoon snack. I'm going to show you in a little bit how you can add some fat to it. If you need some, healthy fats like peanut butter, you could add some protein to it too with that. And then a couple of you will probably like this. You could add a little bit of protein powder in it too, and that works pretty well with oats. So there's so many ways that you can make this with basically whatever you have at home. You make this pretty simple. This is something that's good for kids to make too. My son was gonna help me make this, and then it's really nice outside, so he's riding around on his scooter instead. So he is playing in the driveway. So I'm just gonna stir this. Like I said, I'm gonna bring it to a boil, and then I'm going to reduce the heat, and then I'm really just gonna let it simmer. So in the meantime, if you have oats, you could also make oatmeal cookies, mix oats into pancakes. Oats are good for you because they are a whole grain, so they're not processed. Of course they're processed some, but they're not, like white flour that's been stripped of everything and then re-enriched. Oats are good whole grain, so they are a complex carbohydrate, which is a good thing because remember, your complex carbohydrates are going to last a little longer energy-wise. Some of you said that you're not really doing anything, so you might not need many carbohydrates and energy, and some of you are busier than ever chasing kids who are someone else's or your own, or working full-time construction, I know, or all sorts of other things you guys might be doing right now. So, or maybe you're running more miles than ever because that's what you have time to do and you're allowed to run in your neighborhood. So this is just, like I said, coming to a boil. I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit. If you have a regular range top like I do upstairs, your your electric. I have just a flat electric cooktop upstairs. It does take a little bit longer on that one, but this is really simple. So, you know, you could put this in here, and then if you drink coffee, go drink your coffee while this simmers, or, you know, go take your vitamins, go feed the dogs, go give the dogs water. I check on my garden in the mornings. I planted spinach, and hopefully here in about 10 days I will at least have some little something coming up out there, and some mixed greens. The mixed greens are starting to come up. They're, you know, about this big so far, but they look like they're going to work for sure, and the spinach should work fine too. And then what happens is I have an overabundance of those things, but I'm pretty excited because I'm just about out of fresh vegetables, and I'll have to go to the store for fresh vegetables eventually. So this is up to a boil, and I can already see it thickening. And then I'm going to reduce it to a simmer. And I'm going to simmer it for about 3 minutes. You can see that I'm wearing my watch, which is something we don't usually do in school, at my ring, because I am cooking at home and not for anyone else. So 12:27 right now. I'm going to let this simmer. Remember, simmer is really small bubbles. So if I boil it the whole time, you know, it might boil over, especially since there's dairy in there. But it might boil over, and then it will also, you know, cook off the liquid too fast. So what it's going to do right now while it simmers is the oats will absorb the liquid, and that's what makes the oats, you know, soft. If you make instant oatmeal at home, it's just, you know, you pour hot water into oats, and they already have, you know, your brown sugar or whatever sweeteners in there, little dried apples. So what I'm going to do right now is help the oats dissolve the liquid, and it's already getting a lot thicker. I can see that. It kind of looks like a really yummy coffee drink with the cinnamon sitting on top. So this is 3 to 5 minutes until thickened. Whoopsie. See, it's just like school, where sometimes I think, oh crap. Turn that down a little bit. It's still simmering because it's going to maintain that heat. I gotta heat mine all the way up to turn it back off. If you have a gas range, you're probably used to that. You have to light it basically. So this is, I'm gonna lift it for just a second. It's still plenty hot, so it's still simmering. I just lifted it up. You could do this on your stovetop too, just so that it doesn't boil over, because obviously, I wish you guys could see it right now, but it is still, it's basically boiling right now. There you go. It's simmer, but it's definitely still cooking, so I'm not worried about it not still cooking. Dairy products tend to do this. They will like shoot up with the, when you heat them. So like in the mornings, if I make hot coffee, then it will, I'm just gonna check the time. It will, if I put it on for too long, it just explodes in my microwave, and then I get to clean my microwave again. So dairy products tend to do that. Or like potato soup. I remember the first several times I made potato soup in my life, it just exploded every single time. So this is getting thicker, and it kind of looks like instant oatmeal if you're used to, you know, doing the oatmeal packets at this time. Baked oatmeal is also really tasty. If you'd prefer to do that, you could. My favorite baked oatmeal recipe uses some applesauce. It's from Cooking Light, and egg whites and some brown sugar. I use half the brown sugar that Cooking Light calls for, and it's still really, really good. I'm gonna have to figure out a new angle for this so that you don't just look at my chin the whole time, and so that I don't accidentally light my eyebrows on fire. Hopefully someone out there is listening and laughing just a little bit. Okay, so this is thickening up. So I've got oats that are thickening up some. You can see that. You could try them if you wanted to. I like my oats to be like on the runnier side. Even when I do baked oatmeal and like make it for the week, when I reheat it, I pour some milk on top to reheat it, because I like them to be not so like thick. I like them to be chewy but thin, because especially once I stir in, like I really like peanut butter in my oats, or almond butter if you have it. If I stir that in, then it's really going to happen. So you could also do protein powder at this point if you wanted to, so if that's something that you like. If you're going to do frozen fruit, I would dump it into the pot. Of course, it's still going to be hot after I pour it out, but if you're going to do frozen fruit, it works great in the pot too. Okay, so this is thickened about to the consistency that I like it to be thickened to, where it almost looks like a soupy oatmeal. I remember Mrs. Sauer saying that she thought that her coworker was eating cinnamon soup for lunch all these times, and it turned out it was just really soupy oatmeal. Like, that's my method of eating it also. I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna set this on here. Okay, so now I have this oatmeal, and it looks like this. It smells so good. I wish I could share this with you guys. It's really strange to cook for you and not be able to share it with you, especially when it smells really good like this. So I'm gonna pour some of this in the bowl, and then as it cools, it's also gonna thicken. If I would have thought, I probably would have brought a ladle downstairs, because of course, you know, the liquid is gonna pour off the top. But now I have a bowl of oatmeal, and you could do the whole bowl if you wanted to. This will make 2 servings though. I'll feed this to both of my kids. They'll probably have it for a little afternoon snack later. So this is a big old bowl of oatmeal. I can't imagine eating that much oatmeal. This is a big old bowl of oatmeal. And then I, remember we're quarantine cooking here, so I have little packets of raisins upstairs. I'm gonna do that. And then you haven't added any sweetener yet, right? We just added some cinnamon, but there's no sweetener. So if you're using, you know, like protein powder or something, then you're probably good on sweetener. And natural sweeteners, you could use, of course, frozen fruit. I always put, not always, but almost always, like I said, peanut butter or almond butter in there. So almond butter is like a little more drippy, thin. So I will just take it on a spoon and stir it with that. Pecans are really good on top of this. And then my favorite sweetener on this is brown sugar, but that's not like an everyday type of thing, you know? So you could use honey, you could use agave if you want something lower on the glycemic index, you could use agave. But the textures of like the raisins and the pecans are so good there. And it smells delicious. It smells like breakfast, even though it's, you know, 12:30 in the afternoon. So there's our oatmeal, and that's what you guys will be making. Let me know if you have any questions.